Welcome to the Relaxed Dog Podcast, the podcast where the dogs are the stars of the show. Welcome to episode 79 of the Relaxed Dog Podcast, sponsored by therelaxeddog.com. Thank you very much for finding this show. I am your host, Robert Ober, and I hope that you and your dog are well. Welcome back to the regular listeners, and welcome if this is your first show. My guest this week is Ashley Leeds, and we're going to be talking about Merlin. But first, in some doggy news, we go to Scottsdale, Arizona in the US, where the family of Bruce, a 1-year-old French bulldog, couldn't find him. They searched around everywhere before hearing Bruce's faint barking in the backyard. Now, the family also have a 15-year-old tortoise called Bianca, and Bianca had a den or a hole in the backyard. Bruce went down the hole, Bianca went down the hole, Bruce couldn't get out. Bianca wouldn't move. So a few phone calls later, and the local fire department were around in the backyard, also scratching their heads as to how they would get Bruce out. Eventually, they did a little bit of delicate digging and coaxed Bianca out, and a very relieved Bruce immediately following. They are all well and going to make sure Bruce doesn't venture down Bianca's holes anymore. Now we go to Carcoar in New South Wales, Australia, and the Working Dog Challenge auction has wrapped up, and Poppy, the Kelpie, took out the top honours. She was sold for $24,000. And Poppy actually shares grandparents with the Australian record holder there, another Kelpie by the name, or the formal name, Aluka Hoover, who was sold for $35,200. And now is this week's interview. Welcome to the Relaxed Dog Podcast. I am here with Ashley Leeds. How are you this morning?
I'm absolutely fine and dandy. Thank you very much, Robert. Yourself?
I am fantastic, and thank you for taking some time out to have a chat with me.
Oh, not a problem at all. I guess as this goes on, you'll understand I'm passionate about what I do, so I'm more than happy to share it with you and your listeners today.
Oh, that's great. So who's going to be the main focus of the discussion today?
Well, I suppose we've got to talk about Merlin because we've literally just lost him. And when I say we've just lost him, he's moved on to another home. So he's still very much with us. But it's Merlin. So we said goodbye about 3 weeks ago.
No, that's okay. Sounds like it's going to be interesting. So I'm just going to start with, whereabouts in the world are you?
I am in sunny Devon in the UK, right down at the very bottom of the UK, so in England, right on the south coast, about 10-minute walk from the seaside. It's absolutely glorious. But when I say sunny, it's not quite as sunny as where you are today. It's freezing here today. It's about 7 degrees.
Oh, look, I'm sure it is a charming place, and by the sea, so it can't be too bad.
No, exactly. So,
as per usual, I'm going to ask you to go back in time before you and Merlin met, and I think you're going to tell me you're going to go back even further and lead us into the events on how and why that happened.
Oh, it's a great story. So I'm not a dog person, and so before everyone switches off, I am now. Okay.
Been converted.
No. Oh my goodness, absolutely. My wife has always wanted a dog, And I have always been absolutely petrified of dogs. Some people are scared of spiders. Where you are, it's probably snakes. But yeah, I've always been wary of dogs. Some dogs I'm okay with, but on the, most of the time I steer clear of dogs. I don't get them. I don't like how they jump up and all the other things that dogs do. So it's never really crossed my mind to have a dog.
Yeah, can I ask, was there any sort of like traumatic experience as a child or anything like that, or just a general sort of like, nope, don't like them?
No, I think my mother had a snappy Jack Russell for a very short period of time when I was little, and I think it was that. And I've always been super wary of dogs. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the backstory. As to my terror with dogs, when you're a dog person, and I like to think I'm slightly better than your average dog person because I'm coming from the other side, so I understand how people can be fearful or scared or what have you. But he's fine, he won't bite. I don't care about it. I don't care about him biting. He's scaring me to death. And I think as a kid, I was always told if you show them that you're scared, it's worse. And so how do I not be scared? And I've always, absolutely. Petrified is a good word. Is a good word.
Mm-hmm. And your wife started helping you through that?
Well, she wasn't my wife. She was a girlfriend, and I knew that she was the one. And so, you go over to the parents, and they had two dogs. One was an absolutely crackers Cocker Spaniel, and he was just totally crackers, and a sheepdog that kept him in check and kept everybody else in check, and he was quite masterful and very intimidating. So I used to dread going over there. So always been wary of dogs, and so therefore. In fact, we were having a conversation the other day, and I said, "Sweetie, I did tell you I didn't like dogs when we first met," and so it's always been like that. But over the years, and we've had two children, it's always been, "Can we have a dog? Can we have a dog?" And it's always been no, no, no. And the thing that got to me was I'm being a little bit. Prejudiced about having a dog because I don't know what it's like to have a dog. So how can I say I don't like having a dog? And it's a bit like people that don't have children. We don't have children because we don't like kids or whatever. And it's like, well, everybody loves kids. Why wouldn't you have children? So I turned that around on myself, and I said, well, if that's the case, how can you say that about dogs? So I said, look, let's try having a dog. However, one of the statistics in the UK is about 157,000 dogs are rehomed every year, and about 47,000 of those are destroyed. And I didn't want to be one of those statistics. Give or take those numbers, you can find them if you Google them. And I found out about Guide Dogs. This is Guide Dogs for the Blind. It's a UK charity. And basically what they do is they provide dogs to people with little or no sight or impaired vision and stuff like that. And the cost of that dog is about £55,000, and to keep the cost
Not
down,
cheap.
No, it's crazy. But to keep the cost of that down is they use volunteers for the early years training. So while the dog's a pup, and so from 6 weeks, you get the puppy, and you get all the support that you need to ensure that dog becomes ready for training. So when I talk to people, it's a bit like having kids and getting them ready for university, or getting them ready to fly the nest. Yeah, you teach them how to do their shoelaces, how to cook, how to make the bed, all those sorts of things. None of our dogs were able to make the bed, but they were pretty good at tying shoelaces. Mm-hmm. So we investigated this, and my wife said, "Oh, I'm not having a dog if I can't keep him." And we said, fair enough. And that was it. And then, a few more years went on. And I said, look, I'm dead serious about having a guide dog. I would have a guide dog because, we've been married for 35 years now. And she said to me, and I said, look, this is the only way we're ever going to have a dog, but I am serious about having one. So we looked into it more, went for an interview, and the process to get in the program and stuff like that was quite tough. And I did my absolute damnedest to be the most awesome dog lover in the world. When she came and interviewed us, and they brought a dog round, and you can tell someone who's got a dog in front of them, then they're not a dog person. Mm. And I did my best. I didn't want Debs to turn around to me and say, you made out that you were going to fail. That's why we haven't got a dog. I really did my best. And anyway, the good news is we got through, and we actually got an award last week for 50 months service to guide dogs. So we've been doing it a long time. And so over that time, we've had 4 pups.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
But it was the first one that was interesting because we'd never had a dog in the house, so we didn't know what to do. And my wife has always had dogs, so she had an idea. But with guide dogs, they're not allowed to jump on furniture. They're not allowed to beg for food. And there's loads of things they can't do, and there's loads of things you have to do, like taking them for a walk and putting them in the car and all those sorts of things that you do in their early years. But they also got to have fun, and they're not allowed to go free running, and just the list is absolutely endless. So our divisional manager, or whatever she's called, she comes over once a fortnight, and then the opposite fortnight we go to puppy class. So we're there with other puppy raisers and their guide dogs, and they put them all in different groups. So we were with the little ones, and then we you move up as they get older, and there's lots and lots and lots of things you have to do. It's very, very strict. But the benefit of having a guide dog is you obviously don't pay for the dog. You don't pay for any vet bills. You don't pay for any food, and you get all of this hands-on support, and making sure that so you got any queries or questions, you pick up the phone or email or WhatsApp or whatever, and it was absolutely superb. And so people were seeing me with this dog now. So we've got this little puppy called Trekker, and he's with us, and people are saying, "Oh, he's lovely, whatever." You're going to be so upset when he goes, and I'm there going, "No, I will not. It's only a dog. It's only a dog." but
How long does that
like
last?
you said, well, I'll finish this chapter of the story, because they become part of your life, don't they? And they do absolutely everything with you, and you've brought them up from 6 weeks old. So guide dogs have them at 6 weeks. It's really young for a puppy. But we need to imprint on them, and we need to get them trained and get them ready for training. So they've been doing it for donkey's years. They know what works. And so we'd had him a while, and I was taking him to the local supermarket, and I'd go to the supermarket most mornings just to buy a few provisions, but to take him around and get him used to walking past the donuts without eating them, to get him sitting at the till without jumping up at people. And he was a lovely, lovely dog, and he broke the heart. He earned the hearts of all the staff there. They all loved him. They all looked forward to me coming in. He was brilliant, absolutely lovely, lovely dog. And I was on the till one day, and I turned around to the lady who was putting all the stuff through. Rachel, she's called, and she's I've known her for years now, and you get to know these people because you're seeing them regularly. Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh, I got the news through today." She says, "What's that?" I said, "Trekker's going. We've got a date for him." And she burst out crying on the till. Because she was, sorry to see him go. And, so we chatted and what have you. And I said, well, it's not for a couple of weeks, and I'll bring him in on his last day and what have you. And so we then got to the last week of having him. So this is our last Saturday with him. This is our last time on the beach with him. This is our last car ride with him. So all these different things were going on. And so on the morning, it's always a Thursday. We call it the puppy snatcher comes. Think of Cruella de Vil and the 101 Dalmatians. So on the Thursday, so I went into the supermarket on the Wednesday, and she was there. She said, "Oh, you are going to come tomorrow. You are going to come tomorrow, aren't you? You're going to come tomorrow." I said, "Yeah, I will come tomorrow." I came out of the house that Thursday morning, and it's right to the supermarket, left to the woods. And I started walking left. I couldn't do it. I was so upset I couldn't do it. But I said I was going to go in, so I had to. And I went into the supermarket, got the few things that I needed. And I'm at the till, and all the staff came out. They got him a card, and they were all saying their goodbyes. And this woman behind me, she was crying, didn't know her from Adam. And I turned around to her and I said, "Oh, I'm really sorry about this." She said, "No, I don't even know who you are, but it's so sad." And I said, "Well, my eyes are watering because it's really cold and I think I've got something in them." But yeah, it was a really emotional. And so anyway, the puppy snatcher came and off he went. And he's now working with a guy in the West Country, a guy that had gone blind because of something happened to him. And this guy had become more of a recluse and hadn't gone out and, not seeing anybody. And Trekker has gone in there and changed his life. And so when people say to you, "Oh, it must be hard when you give them up," when you hear stories like that guy and how much difference that dog has made to his life, it doesn't matter that we cried that day.
It's a real bittersweet type sort of, yeah.
Do you know, Robert, that it's an amazing honor to be part of the program and actually have a part in that huge machine that can do that. And you used the word noble. I think of it as an honor. It's a small price that we have to pay.
How old was Trekker when you sort of
about 18 to 20 months old?
Okay, yep. That's the average type stage.
Yeah. Maybe he was a little bit younger. So what happens is you've got X number of trainers and X number of dogs going through the program. And if a dog's taking a little bit longer, because it's not a set 14 weeks when they get to training, it's a little bit flexible. So if they're pretty good, then they'll go on. And I think at that point in time, they were short of dogs. So I think Trekker went a little bit younger. Sometimes we've had them a little bit longer because there's a bit of a backlog. So yeah, I think he was about that sort of age when he moved on. And then they go on for training with a trainer, and then they move again and have extra training, and then they go matching. And so they have training with their partner as well. So yeah, it's phenomenal what they do. Absolutely phenomenal what they do. But they change lives. And that's why we do it, and that's why I'm passionate about it, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it today.
Well, I was going to say it's a long introduction. We haven't got to Merlin yet, but what a powerful message and a powerful story, and yeah, just it's really shows how another facet of just how awesome dogs are and how much they impact on lives throughout their journey in multiple people, like carers like yourself and trainers, and then on to the final people who they end up spending the rest of their life with and helping.
Yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, right, they love doing it. They absolutely love doing it. A friend of mine at the time turned around and said, you should get a dog, because they had a dog. And it was always, "No, I don't like dogs. I'm scared of dogs," and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, got the dog, and she thought he was amazing. But she didn't like the idea that he was bred and trained just to serve. But I'd sit there and argue with her any day or night when you see and hear the stories that the partners get from their dogs. It's just phenomenal. And to deny them that, I think that's wrong. And the dogs absolutely love helping
and
people.
It's much more than just, a tool or to serve or something. It's a life companion.
It is, and we're both lucky. We've got decent vision, and we can see. But could you imagine not being able to see, and your only friend is a furry thing, and they become a proper support. It's not just somebody to take you to the shops or to take you to your granny or whatever. It's someone to really just look after you and keep an eye out on you. In fact, the Trekker knows if this guy's going to have a fit, so he keeps an eye on him, that as well, and that he's just picked up by being with him. It's not trained. He just senses it.
It's something I keep saying to a lot of people. the bond between two species, like human and canine, there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, I could be. 5 years ago, I'd be going, who are you talking about? Why are you listening to a podcast about dogs? What are you even doing on it? So no, it's hilarious. I'm gonna send a copy of this to. I'm gonna give her a name check. She's called Emma, and she had a couple of dogs, and they were super boisterous, super scary, super big, and whenever we went round there, they'd hide them in the other room because Ash was coming, and I bumped into her recently, and I was telling her about my journey with dogs and that, and her chin was still on the floor after about half an hour of chatting. She just sort of like, I cannot believe you've got a dog. I cannot. And she was just, and she kept saying it. No way. There is no way. So I'm definitely going to send this to her because I know she'll chuckle.
Yeah, no. Sometimes it's just whether you call it fate or some people say karma or just energies in the universe, but a person and a dog gets together under a set of circumstances and lives change.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perceptions
absolutely.
change. Everything changes.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, it's great. It's absolutely great. And so we had another one, and so the next one that came along, I can't remember his name now because I'm on the spot. But the next one came along. Archie came along, and we turned around to our handler. I don't know her job title, but she is amazing. I'll call her Leah. And we turned around to Leah and said, look, we don't want another pup until after our daughters got married because there's lots going on and the build up, and we don't really want a puppy and worrying about it. Anyway, our daughter got married on the 1st of July, which that year was a Saturday. And she phoned us up, I don't know, the Thursday or the Friday before maybe, and said, it was now that you're ready for a dog, isn't it? And we said, well, not until Saturday. And literally, she turned up on the following Thursday with another puppy. It was absolutely hilarious. So literally, as soon as we were ready to have a dog, she pounced on us. So yeah, we had Archie, and then we had Iggy, and he was the same. She phoned us. We said we're going away for our wedding anniversary. So after that, that's fine. We were sat in the hotel waiting for the bus to transfer us back to the airport, and she phoned us and said, "Can you have a dog? Can you have a dog on Thursday?" So
you must be doing something right.
Well, absolutely. So Trekker was a handful. He was proper boisterous and really, really hard work, and all of his siblings were withdrawn. For one reason or another, but we managed to get Merlin through, and he's an amazing dog. And I guess if you have a really difficult one to start off with, and you get them to graduate, then you sort of like feel like I could do anything. And I think this has been the same with the pandemic. We've had some really, really tough times during the pandemic, but we've got through it. Mm-hmm. So at the moment, there's loads of talk in the news about another lockdown in the UK. And it's sort of like, yeah, but we got through the last one. Mm. The very first lockdown when we didn't know what we were doing. There was no toilet paper, and nobody knew what they were doing. And we got through it. And so that was the same with Trekker. We got through the really difficult dog. So every other dog after that is going to be a breeze. Until Merlin came along.
Well, yes, Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin. Bless his cotton socks. Bless his cotton socks.
What was the phone call like for Merlin?
The phone call for that was a nightmare. We'd been told we're getting a dog. We were told we were going to get him on such and such a date. And then COVID came and lockdown came. And we were told we're going to try and get the dogs out before lockdown. And then it was, no, we've decided we're not putting them out. And then, no, we're going to try it. No. And there was a lot, but nobody knew what was going on. And the bottom line is, right, if guide dogs could look at it today and say, what should we have done? They might have done something different, but at the time they only had the information that they had. Yeah. And at the time they were all about protecting their staff and protecting their volunteers and protecting their users. Mm-hmm. And so they did what was right at the time. And therefore they ended up with about 100 odd puppies up at the breeding center. And normally there's sort of like 20 or 30. And what the staff at the breeding center did during the initial lockdown was just incredible. They were taking in food and sleeping bags and staying there because you weren't allowed to travel. I don't know what it was like in Australia, but in the UK, if you went out, I took something to the mail one day, and I was walking down the road and I actually carried the envelope high so everybody could see it if they drove past or walked past, because I was going to the post office to post this important letter. And it was scary. It was scary times. And so guide dogs turned around and said, right, we're not going to let the dogs go out. Anyway, we started to get a few more restrictions lifting. And this was going back when we weren't even allowed out. We were allowed out once a day. That was it. Everything was shut. And so then they started letting the restrictions out. And we were told we were going to get the dog in February. And by the end of April, they were umming and ahhing, and they turned around and said, right, we're going to let the dog out. And I was on a Zoom call, and she had a phone. My wife had a phone call. And my daughter was downstairs working from home, and I was upstairs in the home office. And she had this phone call, and we're going to get the dog, and you're going to have the dog, blah, 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 blah. And so my wife and my daughter were dancing around the kitchen all happy because this new puppy was coming. I was oblivious to all of this in the office upstairs. Within that hour I was on the Zoom, they'd had another phone call to say, oh, we're really sorry, you're not having the dog. But we'd had weeks of, yes, the dog's coming, no, the dog's not coming, yes, the dog's coming, no, the dog's not coming. It was, yeah. So I came downstairs after my call and and they were in pieces. And I said, what's up? I said, well, they've told us this and now they've told us that. And oh, no. So we eventually got Merlin on the 4th of May. Now, we normally get a puppy at 6 weeks. Merlin was 13 weeks old. He'd spent, I help you with the maths, but 9 weeks up at the center, running around, having an absolute ball with 99 other puppies. It was like Cruella de Vil again, wasn't it? And so you can imagine all those pups together. They must have had an absolute ball. And the trainers, they did some amazing things up there. They put obstacles around the corridors and, did lots of stuff with them. But again, they're not getting the one-to-one that they normally get when they go to puppy races. So when he came to us, he was a little bit nervous, a little bit different. And I don't know if we're allowed to have favorites, but he was a special dog, Merlin. And
that's all right.
It's fine. I'm not a dog lover.
No, not at all.
So when he came to us, there was loads of things that we had to do, and we had to play catch up. And but there was still a lot of restrictions, so we couldn't go into shops. We couldn't put him onto buses and stuff like that. So all the training all of other pups had. There's loads of pubs and cafes and restaurants in town, and most of our dogs pull us into all of them because they know where they are. Merlin still doesn't know that Duke's is the best bar in town because he's never been in there, because we weren't allowed to go in there. So it's all of those sorts of things. You've got people coming towards you, and you want to stay clear of them and protect them and all of that. And so he had a very different upbringing to every other pup. And I've spoken to dog owners that don't have guide dogs, and their dogs have suffered as well because of the socialization and people not getting close and stuff like that. So we were on a hiding to nothing. And he didn't like going in the car. Absolutely didn't like going in the car. His heckles were up. He heavy breathing. He really wasn't comfortable. And so Leah used to come over, and she'd bring a van, it's got a great big back to it. So it's dead easy, it's open, it's low. He can jump in, there's lots of doggy smells in there. And he'd jump in and quickly jump back out again. You'd lure him in with food or his toys, and she'd spent hours and hours coming over. He just wasn't getting it. And she had to make the decision that he had to be withdrawn. And it's a big thing because, Trekker was a huge success. Archie went on and he's living with a lady who lost her sight while she was in the armed forces. She now competes in the Invictus Games, and Archie takes her to all her training sessions and things like that. The last dog, Iggy, he's gone as a buddy dog, and he's changed the lives of a family who've got a blind autistic son, and he's changed their life. And to know that Merlin was withdrawn, my wife still says, and no matter how many times I beat it out of her, she still says that she's failed the dog and she's failed Merlin. And it's sort of like, no, sweetie, it's not you. It's the circumstance. It's COVID. It's the social distancing. It's the lockdown. So, and it was absolutely everything.
At what stage, so how long after you got Merlin was that decision made?
It was about a year. So, we'd done everything we could. And again, we weren't allowed out in the car for a while anyway. So even that was difficult. And so it was tough. And so Leah's brilliant. She never gives up, and which is why Trekker was such a success, because, right, we need to work on this, because that was a problem he was having. So we'd work on that, and we'd go to puppy class and stuff like that. And she'd really help us and make special trips and what have you. And she won't give up on a dog. She will not give up on a dog. And she did everything she could to help him. And, you meet these lovely people that think they know about dogs, and but we did this and we did that. But look, we've got to think of the welfare of the dog. Yep. That is the primary thing with guide dogs. It's all about the welfare of the dog.
Everyone's an expert.
But Leah's got 27 years of doing it, so I bow to what she says, and so he was withdrawn, and sort of like the first thing is, we'll keep him, but that's impractical because he won't go in a car, and my daughter lives 2.5 hours away, with her husband and her kiddie, our grandchild. We want to see our grandson, and we haven't been able to see him. Or she's come down, but we haven't been able to go up there because we can't put Merlin in the car. And we can't leave him here for 2 days, or we can't put him in kennels because we can't put him in a car. And so for our lifestyle, it is totally impractical to keep Merlin. And, you still sort of like think, well, maybe we could, but we can. You've got to be practical. We've literally just come back from a few days away with our daughter and the grandson. In an Airbnb, and it was nice to just have some time away. But if we'd still had the dog, we couldn't have gone.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And that's the bottom line. And so then the search was on finding the perfect family that aren't going to put Merlin in the car. And so they found this amazing family, and they foster children. They've got a nice big garden. They don't go out much in the car. They've got lots of land near them, so he can run. So Merlin is absolutely living his best life.
Is that far from you, or?
It's about an hour away, I believe. Okay, yeah. We've all got anonymity, and we always waive that because we want to know what's going on. So we keep a Facebook page for all our dogs, so if people can keep an eye on what our dogs are doing. It's more for family and friends, but people ask me. I do a lot on LinkedIn, and I've put a couple of posts up and inspired a couple of people to get into the program as well. And so we've got this Facebook page, and so they post up pictures now and again. So we keep an eye on what the dogs are doing, which is lovely.
So I want to find out a little bit more about, I suppose, predominantly Merlin. So when he and the others come into your house, is it free range, or are they crate trained, or?
Oh, great question. Yeah. So so guide dogs like them to be crate trained. Which is amazing because as a non-dog person, when we first had Trekker, it was sort of like, oh, that's cruel, put him in a crate. Oh, that's really cruel, poor little thing. It's like he's in prison. He loved it. He absolutely loved it. And at 9 o'clock every night, he'd grab hold of his blanket and he'd walk round to his crate. Like, that's it, guys. I've had enough. I'm done. And absolutely loved it. But you have a crate in the boot of the car as well. Yep. So, it all makes sense. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. So they're crate trained. And then when they get obviously a full grown lab, you're looking at 30 kilos, that they then have a bed, but by which time they know where they go and what their space is and stuff like that. The program is absolutely amazing, and I get people stopping me in the street and saying, "Oh, my dog's doing this. Can you give me some tips and what have you?" And again, if Emma was with me, she'd go, "Ash, what are you doing? Are you a dog whisperer or something?" So no, it is amazing. So we've learned so much about training the dog. So it is they have to have a puppyhood. Okay. Yep. I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, but I will. The day that Leah came and interviewed us, we were chatting and we were saying goodbye and what have you. And she said, it's very important that they have a puppyhood. And I really wasn't thinking straight. And I said, is that something like to put over their head?
I did not see that one coming.
and she still, whenever she interviews anybody new, she always says, I've got this one guy. And he always, and she talks about that all the time. And she won't ever let me forget it. But it is important. It is important that they have a puppyhood, and it's got to be fun for them, and they definitely do that. They're not allowed upstairs. They're not allowed on furniture. They're not allowed to eat anything other than the designated food. So we've taken our dogs to pubs and had a pub lunch, and they've sat on the floor under the table, good as gold. And generally when you take dogs to pubs, they tend to be dog-friendly pubs, although we can take our dog anywhere because he's a guide dog. And on the next table, there's somebody eating, and the dog is up there and is watching their every move, every fork to their mouth, and you sort of like think, really? Yeah. Our dogs don't do that. Mm-hmm. They might come and snuggle you if you're at the table because it's an easy lap. But you're sort of like in your bed and off they go. They don't realize that you're sat down because you're eating. They just think you're sat down, therefore you've got a lap to put their chin on. That is quite amazing. So they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed upstairs, not allowed on any furniture. So they are amazingly well-behaved dogs. And the thing is, right, you've got to look at it from the point of the view of the person that's receiving the dog. Okay. Yep. You don't want a dog running around your house doing what they want. You want to know that you want to know that if you put it here, it's not going to go up on the furniture. Because if it comes up on the furniture and you've got a cup of hot tea in your hand, you can't see the dog jumping up or anything. And it's all those sorts of things that you really don't think about. When you've got 20/20 vision. They're not allowed to have a ball, which is a great one. If you think about it, if you teach a dog to chase a ball, well, if he's leading somebody who's got, who's partially sighted or vision impaired, and someone throws a ball through the park, where's that dog going to go? So these dogs, when they go free running and a dog's got a ball and chasing a ball, our dogs look at that dog and go, what are you doing? What's that round thing? They really don't have a clue, which is quite amazing.
So as far as other toys, say, what would Merlin and any of the others, do they have favourite toys?
Yeah, they have all of their doggy toys. They always like the cuddlies, and they just carry them around as their mates all the time. And they like those. There's the Kong toys. The virtually indestructible things. They like those. They like the chewy things, and the bones. They love the bones.
So what? We can take out car rides, but for Merlin, an average walk around your place, your suburb, what would that be like?
So we are blessed. We are truly blessed. So right outside my door, it's, I don't know, 100 yards, and I'm in something that's called the Bise, and that is a great big green open space, runs the whole length of it's probably, well, I've done 10,000 steps today. I walked from one end to the other today with a friend and her dog, and it's a lovely walk along the river, and you can just run around. The time in the morning that we went, it was fine. This time of day, there's lots of other people there, so you need to be a little bit careful if you're going to let your dog run free. Mm-hmm. But off that walk is several fields where dogs can go and run. So it's just lovely. So he loves going there. And then obviously we've got the beach. So during the summer, not allowed on the beach, but there is a beach right at the far end that you can go on. But from the 1st of October, dogs are allowed on the beach, and just making sure that the tide is right. And he just has an absolute ball. So yeah, that is incredible. We're so lucky.
Did you think Merlin had a preference on like beach or fields or woods, or?
It was anywhere where there was other dogs.
Anywhere.
He just loved playing with other dogs. Just at the top of the hill here, we've got a little community parkland sort of area where dogs go. And so if we turned left out of the house, he was keen to get up there because he knew where he was going. Mm-hmm. So I think that was his favourite up there. We call that the nap.
Do you think that was comparing to the others because of that early sort of like part of his life where he was with a lot of other dogs in the beginning and then sort of like separated a bit?
Yeah, probably. I hadn't really thought about that, Robert. Yeah, you're probably right, because if he was one of 100, then yeah, he's used to seeing other dogs. But yeah, he was always so friendly. But the other dogs, they'd sort of like go and have a sniff, but then come back. But he would just sort of like, oh, and there's another dog, and off he'd run and find another one, and then his little ears go up, and then I need to go, and off he goes to another dog. It's absolutely incredible. So yeah, I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah, great observation. That's probably why.
Yeah. Did Merlin have any sort of like particular habits or individualisms?
He was quite a thoughtful guy. So sometimes he'd just sit there and stare, and he's sort of like, "What are you doing?" And he'd just stare. He'd just stare. And I think I don't know what he was thinking, but he would just sit there and he just to sit outside in front of the back door, because he knew that I was in here, because I'm in a shed in the garden. And so Debs would open up the door, and then he'd appear at the shed door and just look at me in that funny stare that he does. So I'd open up the door, and he'd just come in, and he'd just lie down on the floor behind me. And it's just cute. It's cute because when we first moved here, we were upstairs. I had an office upstairs, and when my daughter turned around and said that they were pregnant, and well, she was. Her husband had something to do with it, I guess. But when she said they were pregnant, I said, right, we need to sort this out, because if you come and stay, then I'm in my home office, and we could make that a bedroom. So I put a shed in the garden, which was lucky because it came just as COVID hit. Mm-hmm. So it enabled the spare room to then be my daughter's office. But I was upstairs, and one of the things about moving here that broke my heart was I couldn't have the dog with me in the office, because in my old house the office was downstairs, and I always had the dog in with me. So I'd be chatting to people on Zoom, because I've been working from home for a long time now, and you'd hear this squeaky toy going. I said, I'm really sorry, that's my dog. And he'd get in on the conversation, and people were sort of like, hi Ash, how are you? How's Trekker today? Or whichever dog it was. So it was always, where's the dog? So often tilted the angle of the laptop down so they could see him snoozing behind me.
Nice. So in the yard with Merlin and with some of the others, was there much interaction with other animal species? Do you have sort of different?
No, No, the only pets we've had guinea pigs and rabbits, and we had a couple of cats, donkeys years ago, and fish. But no, it was just the guide dog. That's all we had. Mm-hmm. My younger daughter was living at home, so she was pretty involved with the dogs as well. But no, it's just basically the two of us and the dog.
Okay. And what about even when you're, say, like out walking with, I don't know, rabbits or other things like that?
Oh, yeah. So we walk through the churchyard, and there's a load of grey squirrels there. Mm. And they're very, very tame. You often walk past and see people sat there feeding them. So they're super, super tame. Merlin used to get really excited walking through the churchyard. None of the others did. He was fascinated by any other animal, but the others were they because we'd had them younger, mm-hmm. and I guess if he was stuck in this breeding centre for an extra 9 weeks, then he was he's not gonna see lots of different animals. So yeah, he was absolutely fascinated. I don't know what he'd do if he ever caught one, but absolutely fascinated. And again, just staring at the seagulls and all the birds that are nearby. He'd just sit there for hours just staring. And you can just imagine he was looking at them. How can they fly? Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, it's quite a character. Sounds like a philosopher. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Deep thinker. Yeah. He's a deep thinker. And he had the waggiest tail out of all of them. Mm-hmm. He was super, super friendly. And he was also the sleepiest as well. He was fine. He'd quite happy on his own, quite happy to just take himself off and go. Because we tend to catch up in the evening and watch a bit of TV together. And, the dog will always come through. And sometimes Merlin would, I'm not bothered tonight. And he'll just lie in his bed. And then he'll perhaps look through the door and come in and have a little snuggle, and then he'll go back out again. So yeah, he was quite a thinker, I'm sure. What would you say would be his favourite spot in the house or outside? So favourite spot in the house is going to be his bed, which is in the kitchen. But right by the patio door, so he can see all the birds and the wildlife outside. So yeah, that there, and here in my shed, very, very close second. Nice. Did Merlin or any of the others ever have any sort of like emergency vet trips or health concerns? None at all. Trekker, he had the iPad, but it was left where he could get it, so it's our fault. And then he ate a couple of socks, which was incredible. That was so worrying, and that was quite early on as well. It's like, oh no, they're going to take the dog off us. Oh, terrible. You sort of like you ring up and it's sort of like, oh, not another sock monster. Oh, they're like that. Oh, right, okay. But if you never had a dog, you don't think about a pair of socks, do you? Even when you do, it's like no, and Merlin's been the best. He's never taken anything. I see, because I usually ask everyone, to complete the sentence. I can't believe my dog ate, and I was refraining from asking you because I thought, they're all going to be sort of like that, a bit more control and well-behaved. No, and this is the thing, Robert. This is the thing that people need to remember. They are still dogs. They're still dogs. Yep. They are still dogs. And when you peel puppies. Off yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they are. They really are. They're bouncy. That when you let them off on a free run, they're more entertaining than your normal dog, because your normal dog does it every day, and you're only allowed to free run a pup, a couple of times a week initially, and they go off, and it's like a kid in a sweet shop. And it's sort of like, you blow the whistle and they don't come back, and you go over and I'm really sorry. He's a trainee guide. He's a trainee guide dog. That should get out of jail free card. That is. And they go, oh right, okay. You can see them. They're all getting bristly because your dog's not in control. Well, he is in control. He's just having a bit of fun. He's letting his hair down. And once you explain that to them, they absolutely love it. And you go, oh wow, that's amazing. How do you give them up? That's the question that everybody asks. It's so funny. It's so funny.
So
but Merlin.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say that Merlin was the best out of all of them, but then he started getting a little into shoes, and so I'd take him out for a walk every morning, and then my wife is at home, but then she'd pop out, and if I was in a meeting, she wouldn't bring him in. Normally she brings him in, so he'd sort of like it's as if he's sort of like, you've left me on my own, so I'll have your shoes, and he'll just take a pair of shoes into the living room and just love them. But she had a pair of sandals that she hadn't had long, and they weren't cheap, and he loved them a little bit too much. And, so that was heartbreaking. And so like you get, when you have kiddies, right? You can tell how old your kiddie is because all the ornaments and all the things start moving higher and higher. Yeah. And then you can tell when your kids become older and safer, they all start coming back down. Yep. and so when our grandchild comes, quickly move this, move that. And you get complacent with the dogs because they're always so good. And then you get one that doesn't. You're like, oh no, so we have to start putting the shoes away and stuff like that. So you just have to be a little bit extra careful.
Mm-hmm. Question, when you're going out and doing some training, and I know it probably vary a little from place to place, but did you ever come across a bit of negativity, or what are you doing in here with the dog that you have to deal with a person that, like, I don't care if you're training a guide dog, you know?
I don't think we have had it. Maybe initially. Oh yes, most people are absolutely fantastic. Yeah, they are absolutely fantastic. Really, really good. And so we have a lead, and on the lead there's a little flash that says trainee guide dog. But they also get a jacket when they get to a certain age. They get a proper jacket, so it's a great big bright blue coat with yellow writing on, guide dogs, puppy in training, that sort of thing. So you can't miss that guide dog is being trained. You shouldn't really miss the flash, but quite a lot of people now have flashes on their lead that say it's a timid dog, or this dog barks, or something like that. And so we went camping, and it's a dog friendly campsite, so that's fine. And We'd been in the camper van all the journey down to where we were going. So I put the dog on the lead and walked into the camp shop with my friend and to pay for our places. And this guy comes out, "Can't have no dogs in here, boy." and I was like, right, okay. So I walked straight out, put his jacket back on, and then walk straight back in again. Oh, he's one of them, is he? That's all right, look. It's just so quick a change before he'd even asked. But when you go to places you don't know, we always sort of like, is it okay to bring the guide dog in? Oh my goodness, yes, please. But you get funny looks from other people when you're in the supermarket. That's hilarious because you don't see a dog in the supermarket. But especially when they're young, they don't have the jacket. So like, what are you doing? It's a guide dog. Oh, right, okay. And all the mums, as you walk past, they're pushing their toddler in the trolley. Goes, that's a special dog. He helps people. Yeah, it's lovely. It is a real amazing insight into human nature as well. So yeah, I think it's one of the best things I've ever done. And I'm looking forward to when we get another one. But after losing Merlin, it's pretty raw at the moment, so we're not sure what we're doing. Mm-hmm. I think when we say goodbye to all the other dogs, we know they're going on to change your life. And this one we could have had, even though I said earlier it's totally impractical for our lifestyle. That part of you thinks, oh, maybe we could have had him. So it's very raw at the moment and quite sad.
Off the top of your head, one of the happiest moments that you and Merlin had together?
Oh, just running on the beach. Absolutely. He just loved it. Always great fun. And as my grandsons got older, he absolutely adored him. Both ways, absolutely both ways. And you sort of like, he's, like I said, 30 kilos. He's huge compared to little August, who's, big, gentle as anything, and shared all his toys with him, but never went anywhere near August's toys. So yeah, really, really, really lovely dog.
Oh, that's nice. That's interesting to hear too. Sometimes it's like, whatever's on the floor, whatever I can reach, must be mine to play with.
Well, especially I'm a Labrador.
Yeah. I suppose that's another challenge that most people are thinking, Labrador, but don't they eat everything?
Yep, totally.
Is there anything else coming to mind about Merlin that you'd like to share?
No, just what a lovely dog he was. How he helped us through lockdown. I think that was nice to have a dog through lockdown. But it was lockdown was an extra special challenge being a puppy raiser because of all the restrictions. With all of our other dogs, we've done all kinds of things. There's a department store in town, and you walk around the ground floor. They've got a lift, one half of the building. You go there, you go up the lift, and then you walk around the China department, and then back down the other lift. Absolutely fantastic training for the guide dogs because they get to go in a lift. Poor old Merlin doesn't even know that store exists because of all the restrictions. So he was more towards the end of his life with us. He was more a pet than a guide dog. But obviously we still had to do certain things. But no, it was good fun, and we definitely miss him. And it's going to be a different Christmas this year.
Oh, see it as from our conversation that, Merlin's, I suppose, life was, not destined to be helping someone with vision impairment, but he's helped, like you said, helped you and your family through COVID. And now he's part of another family. And that's just how things maybe are destined to be.
Absolutely, it's the circle of life, isn't it? And he's living his best life. He's having an absolute ball. And when you say goodbye to a pup, you want to know that they're having fun and what have you. And we fostered one for a short period of time from another puppy raiser while they went away or something. I can't remember the circumstances. But this dog came in, and he was our best friend immediately. I was expecting this dog to sit by the front door waiting for the owners, but no, he was my mate. And so they're quite fickle. They are quite fickle. So we know that he's all right. And we've had a few photos back from them. And
obviously the dog knew you were a dog person.
It must have done. Yeah, I know. How bizarre is that?
If to those people listening are thinking about doing that sort of thing and fostering and looking after a service dog or a guide dog, what are some words of advice that you would give them?
Just do it. Just embrace it. Just embrace it and think why you're doing it, and think who's going to get the dog at the end of the day, because it will change somebody's life. Even if it's going as a police dog, they do amazing work. You're not going to hear the stories that you do of Trekker's new owner, but again, they are doing incredible work, and so if you get an opportunity to do it, it is so rewarding, and to be part of something that is so special it really is an honor.
It has been a really enjoyable conversation. Do you want to give out any links to your own sort of like businesses, or tell people what you do or anything like that?
Well, I'm a LinkedIn trainer, so if anyone wants to chat to me, I'm on LinkedIn all the time. So if anybody wants to find out more about guide dogs or my journey with dogs, I'm more than happy for people to catch up with me. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's Ashley Leeds on LinkedIn. I'm all over it, so that you shouldn't have any problem finding me. I also go under the moniker of the 15-minute guy. And that's because my training course, I do it in 15 minutes a day because we're all far too busy. And so I respect people's time. So yeah, if anyone wants to come and have a chat, wants to find out more about guide dogs, absolutely.
Ashley, it has been a truly wonderful conversation. Thank you again very much.
No, it's really, really great to meet you, Robert. And thank you very much for having you on your podcast. And have yourself a lovely Christmas.
Thank you very much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed the show. And now's a good time to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future episodes. Just like our new listeners in Mountain View in the US and Aksay in Russia. If you'd like to leave a review on whatever platform you are listening on, it would be appreciated. And more importantly, tell a friend how awesome dogs are and have a listen to this podcast. Until next week, stay safe and remember, your dog is family.